Yeah, cool. Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town Council hall, and obviously welcome to the annual residents meeting 2023. Just going to do a brief summary of kind of the past year's achievements and kind of things that's kind of been going on. Obviously, the past few months you've kind of seen obviously the Slade Road Play Park. Thank you to Lynn and officers behind the scenes and relevant councils been involved in that. Obviously, the biggest event, which kind of, well, for me personally and a lot of people, was Saturday, was the opening of the skate park. So thank you to everybody that turned up on Saturday. And thank you to everybody kind of that goes back way beyond my time in Portishead, that's contributed to kind of the fight for the skate park for various different reasons. Saturday was kind of a very memorable moment for a lot of people. If anyone's not been down there yet, I kind of implore you to go down and have a look, because the excitement, the smiles on the faces is just amazing. One of the things I popped down there today, one of the things that was said by one of the kids is, I said to him, what would you be doing if you weren't here today? I'll be on my Xbox. So actually, an achievement, which is kind of what we wanted to do. You know, obviously there have been a number of other things. I'm not going to kind of go into everything. It is kind of it's out there. There's obviously been a Jubilee Festival last year, obviously in recognition of the Queen. Obviously, unfortunately, we lost her very close after that. So we are doing another one this year, Coronation Festival for the King. It's kind of to help out local businesses in Portishead and North Somerset. It is a free event of sorts. We charge a penny. The reason we charge a penny is if we don't charge the penny, then we have to pay fees that North Somerset are legally required to charge down to us. So effectively, it's a penny donation or whatever. All the money will go to local causes. Anyone that was here last year, remember that we actually asked you guys, because this is your meeting, to decide who the two charities are that it goes to. So I will ask at the end, if you get the thinking caps on, who you'd like the charities to go to this year. So whatever money is raised, whether it's £1 or £1,000, it will all go to a local charity to benefit them. Last year was the skate park group were chosen, and Portishead Christmas lights benefited from it. I think it was just over £1,800 was raised. It is a great event. It's a fun event. There's lots of food stalls, general stands there for people that kind of do things around Portishead and North Somerset. Live music. We've got the rock choir, when I get it right, opening the event at 11:30. Yes, it opens from 11, but there'll be live music from them at 11:30. And then the live music on the stage starts from midday, from 1 o'clock, sorry, which is the Twirzels, followed by Esplanade BS20, followed by the Rock Project, who are going to take us through the rest of the day up until 10 o'clock at night. Hopefully the weather's going to shine, so we'll see what happens. That's it from me, because I'm sure you don't want to hear from me in my dulcet tones. So this is your meeting. So I'd like to ask, would anybody like to chair the meeting from the room? Anyone want to volunteer somebody to chair the meeting? Anybody else? It's you then, Paul. I'll hand over to you. I'll go and sit in the audience.
Can people online put their hand up? Yeah, so
I'll sit down, just flag if anyone pops.
yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, and thank you for your trust in me once again. As Ben said, this is a people's meeting. It's for anyone to speak for as long as they want. We do just need to be slightly mindful that we don't want the meeting to go on too long, but there is no limitation of time or subject. If anybody does wish to speak, if they can put their hand up, whether they're in the room or whether they're online, and we'll take it as it comes. If I could just take this opportunity once again, and I know Ben's mentioned it, the skate park is absolutely superb. I went down there on Saturday for the opening, and I don't think I've ever been as proud of the people of Portishead as I was on Saturday. It was absolutely superb. And there was one very old man who was apparently 57, who was on his scooter and managed to get an interview on Radio Bristol, being the oldest man down there. But I don't want to boast. But ladies and gentlemen, the meeting is your meeting. Of course I didn't fall off, Ken. Does anybody wish to open up a discussion?
Before I lose my bottle, I'll do it.
Laura, yeah. I think you'll probably need to come to a microphone just so we can.
Although it's not a 3-point turn anymore, you can stand as many times as you like. You can just get it done again.
Just for the benefit of the clerk, it's Laura Porter, isn't it? Is it Laura? Is it Laura? Is it Laura Porter?
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of the clerk. Yeah.
Yeah. I won't lean too far into it. Hi, I wanted to make the effort to come down here today because I wanted to say thank you and congratulations to Laura Bowers. That is you, isn't there? Yeah. Because Laura coordinated a wellbeing event that I took part in, and it was so much fun. I had such a good day, and I was based over at the Beacon Hub, and it was actually the Beacon Hub that asked me if I'd be part of it. But I just thought the event was brilliant, and I have been asking people for feedback, and everyone had such an amazing time. And I think we can get more of that going. But in particular, I wanted to highlight Laura because I've had such a good experience of Laura as a member of staff of Portishead Town Council. Those of you that have heard me speak before know that I haven't always had the best interactions, or I've felt very uncomfortable about them. But Laura has completely changed my view. I was really hesitant to be involved with the Wellbeing Day because of previous experiences. And so I sort of emailed Laura in advance and I said, I don't know, please watch this video of me talking at the council. Please come and sit and meet me. And she did. She gave me some one-on-one time to sit and listen and talk and really understand. And because she gave me that time, I think the whole thing was a massive success. And well done. Thank you for putting Laura where she is. Going forward, I would love to hear how councillors are going to facilitate that sort of one-to-one engagement. I think it might have been, is your name Richard? Roger, sorry. I think it was you. I think I'd seen a comment about you wanted to reduce public participation or something to that effect. And so I was a bit worried about, well, look what we've achieved having that sort of platform, and what's going to go in its place. Or yeah, so that's really what I wanted to say. And apart from some of the feedback was didn't know anything about it. So I've been sharing it on Facebook. I hadn't seen anything from the town council or anything going on Facebook, but I don't really know where else you would look to find out that these sorts of events are happening. I know Facebook is convenient and Facebook is free, but where else do people look to find out that these amazing events are happening? Well-being, okay. Is this? Oh, what was my question? Oh, right. Kevin wanted to know what is well-being. Since becoming disabled and having mental health crisis and ending up in secondary mental health care and going through all sorts of years of therapy, medication, the lot, I am trying to become a functioning human being again. And the way that I am achieving that is by engaging with people, making music, doing practical sing-alongs. Even if people are profoundly disabled, they can come and sit with me and make music and cheer themselves up in a non-threatening, inclusive, welcoming way. And so it's just looking for ways to help people enjoy life more, whatever they're going through. Hey, Ken, I was interviewed on Radio Bristol last week. I'll send you the link. That'll teach you what it is. And I'm going on BBC Somerset on Monday. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And also, can I try out my wheels at the skate park? I think that's what I wanted to say. So I'm interested to hear how the continuation of engagement, particularly with councillors, if you're planning on having sort of sit down one-to-one, face-to-face or something like that, that could work. But Laura was magic. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Okay.
Laura, perhaps I could just take this opportunity also. I think everybody in Portishead appreciates what a difficult job the staff of the council have got. I've found them nothing but helpful, polite, and I certainly hope that they feel, you know, very wanted, and they do a marvellous job. And I know people criticise councillors, but I actually haven't ever heard anybody criticise any of the staff. And you know, a big thank you and well done to all the staff at Portishead Town Council. Is there anybody else who wishes to? Sue Mason?
I just wanted to reiterate what you had just said about the staff, because they've always been very, very helpful whenever I've asked them something or anything I have been involved in.
Thank you for that, Sue. Do you want to respond? You will need to come up just so people can hear you online, unfortunately.
So I'm talking as a resident and as a member of staff, but I would really like to see a bit more positivity, because I really want to second something that the leaving chairwoman said in the AGM, that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And I think if we could just be a bit more positive towards each other and embrace a bit of kindness. Our councillors are volunteers. They might not be doing exactly what you want them to do, but they're doing their best. And I think if we could just approach each other with a little bit more kindness, we'd get a lot further and have a town that we could all be proud of and all achieve that together. That's my...
Anybody else? Yeah, Roger Whitfield.
Hi, yeah, as you mentioned, I did put some comments out on social media during the election campaign regarding the public participation sessions in the council. What I actually said was that I was not a fan of the current format of the public participation sessions, which basically seem to be used by certain people as a political platform to air their own views rather than to come up with anything constructive. So what I was hoping we would be able to do over these next few years is to put together a proper public participation where people are actually involved in the decision-making process, rather than just turning up to, shall we say, to vent their feelings on certain things which may be totally unrelated to what was going on at the council. So yes, I'm hoping that public participation will be much better going forward. But not going forward in exactly the same format, but maybe looking for a new format. Sorry, and
so yeah, we just had a question to Roger from Ken Smith, which was, if you put the precept in you can't enter our field. So Ken said, if the council put the precept up by 50%, is it right? Is it right that we can't vent our feelings?
No, it's right that anybody can turn up and they can discuss any decision that the council makes, and it be that a reduction in the precept, an increase in the precept, whatever. I would like to see people maybe turn up with a positive attitude, to tell us that if they disagree with an increase in the precept, then maybe where they suggest we make those savings, or what services they would like to do without, because without an increase in the precept, with the 10% inflation rate at the moment, things will go backwards. So yes, feel free to come along and tell us what you think, but also try and be constructive and tell us where you think that that we could make improvements. Thank you.
Should we just take the gentleman behind you first, Laura? You'll need to come to the microphone if you don't mind, and then we can.
Sam Barnes. I'd just like to note about discussing about the precept. Obviously, I don't pay any precept because I'm not eligible to do so. But I would note that before 2019, I believe, or might still be one of the lowest weights of precepts amongst the entirety of North Somerset. For a town of our size, we do need that precept to be, you know, comparable to the other towns of our size, Clevedon and Aylesbury, to ensure we have the services and the, I suppose, environment we want in Portishead. I do personally believe if you want to complain about the services and what we provide here in Portishead, you do need to accept that we need to have a higher precept to do so. But obviously, a higher precept needs to come along with those better services and better environment, I suppose. Thanks.
So a question to Sam from Ken is, are you happy to pay twice for things?
That's about how the precept is used. I mean, if we...
I don't know how to do this, you know. If we're paying North Somerset for things, and then the precept increases here to pay for the same things that North Somerset are providing, we're paying twice. So why are we paying twice for some things? And not only that, this council is a parish council. It's responsible for certain things. In some of the literature, why do they talk about buying the lake grounds and all this kind of stuff? £1 million and £1 million to do it up. And then we don't get no rate reduction. North Somerset will give you nothing back. So why are we paying twice for things?
Obviously, I'm not a councillor, so I can't speak. Yeah, and what I'd say to that is obviously it depends on how we're spending the precept. The precept has to be spent on where we think how efficient that money is going to be spent. Obviously, we don't want to be paying twice for stuff, so we need to be putting that money into places where actually the powers putting that money in is where the Powers Council is effective at, where we aren't paying double. And there's also another thing: if we're providing those services, then actually it frees up money from the North Somerset Council to spend money on other things which apply to the district as its entirety.
Laura, I know you wanted to speak again, and obviously if anybody online does wish to comment, please put your hand up electronically, and we'll certainly include you in the conversations as well. Laura?
Sorry, I'm not looking at you while I'm talking. I would just, if I can offer some constructive suggestions for the possible new format of public participation. Something which I've commented on in previous correspondence is that when people come to their councillors, they're often already at the point of tearing their hair out over whatever it is. You know, they're looking for help. They are frustrated. They're often very angry. they perceive that they have a problem and they need somebody to help them fix it. If somebody comes to a council meeting and they understand that this is their space to raise these things, I would just ask that you be mindful that someone who appears flustered and angry and very, very cross might not be coming to the table with all the background knowledge of how things work as a town council will understand things. They're probably not as read up on who they should be going to. And I don't think it's always the case that people come here to rant and rave and air negative feelings because they want to have a fight. I do believe that a lot of people genuinely don't know where they should be going. So if it is the council's intention to only have positive feedback, which I think is impossible, I think you have to consider how you're going to make it explicitly clear what platform people should be going to when they are cross and upset and angry. Because I think the public shouldn't be asked to only come to the table with positivity. It's not humanly possible, I don't think. So just identify where those platforms are if you don't want it in the council meetings. I hope that wasn't aggressive. Thanks. Sorry? Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on any subject, online or in the room? Ah, who is it online then? Toby Thurlow, you've got your hand up.
I have. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we certainly can. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the previous speakers. I'd just like to follow up really on pretty much a couple of points have already been addressed there around engagement with the councillors and where we engage. I mean, I only accidentally stumbled on this meeting about 7 o'clock this evening. I was browsing Facebook, which I rarely do. I hadn't seen it elsewhere. Now, it may have been advertised elsewhere. So I think there's potentially a bit of a communication issue that needs to be looked at to improving the consultation with residents. How are meeting notices and communication paths put out to them? You know, is it via a website, which not everybody's going to look at? Do we need more signs? I was reading the meeting minutes from last year, and there was a commentary that actually the number of signboards had gone down from previous years. I'm only aware of one, which I think is outside Waitrose. I never look at it, to be fair. Do we need to look at perhaps putting bigger signboards in those more travelled paths, dog walking paths by the front or elsewhere in town? I don't know. I think this is an issue that needs to be looked at. And to address the point about who do people speak to, I'm not 100% sure of what's the responsibility of the town councillors and what's the responsibility of North Somerset councillors. So wherever that communication path is there's probably some form of key that needs to be put in, which says, this is what your town council can do for you, and this is what you need to address to North Somerset Council. And
Mr. Thurlow, you may have gone on to mute. We can't hear you at the moment.
sorry, I seem to have been kicked off. I don't know where I left you. Basically, I apologise. Improving the communication somehow. I'm not, in terms of bringing something positive to the table, I'm not quite sure how that should be done. Maybe some less online methods, some bigger signboards in slightly other places, talking about this meeting, talking about other things, how to get hold of our councillors and what they are responsible for. So leave it there.
Yeah, many thanks for that. I know Sue Mason wanted just to say a few words.
I'll turn the right way around so that people here are not seeing my back. To answer Toby's question, there are notice boards around the town. There are large ones owned by the town council and maintained by councillors who put the notices up. The notices are put up about a week before all of the meetings. They're also often put on the small other notice boards that are around. They are also on the town council website and also on social media. And we do have here Amy, who is the town council communications manager. And I'm sure that she will have heard your comment and will be racking her brain how to try and make things better, because this has been a question for many years. And doesn't matter how many different ways the town council have tried to tell people what's going on. There are always ways that, other ways to look at. But going back to the town council website, that has been updated. It is regularly updated and redone because, of course, websites change or need changing every few years. The new one, excuse me, the new one has just come on board. I haven't looked at it too closely, but I know that it has. And there is an awful lot of information on there about what the town council and the town councillors are responsible for and do, and also what North Somerset does. So I think really the best place to actually find all of the information, or a lot of it, is actually via the websites, but people don't always look at them. So, but yes, all we can say is that, yes, look at the town council websites, visit your Portishead website, because again, there are links on there. So yes, so that's all I have to really say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. I see that Beth Hobbs online would like to say something. Go ahead, Beth.
Hiya, thank you. Firstly, seeing Laura, I mean, the difference she has made to our community through her music making. I've got 2 young children, and seeing the difference she's made is incredible, and all the wellbeing support that's offered by the town council. Sort of thank you. That's made a big difference to my life in the last couple of years, particularly. And yes, thank you to all of the town councillors who have put themselves forward for the next coming term, and for those who have finished their term. I just wanted to say I completely agree that there needs to be more kindness in politics in Portishead. It's got very, very aggressive over the last couple of years, and that's been difficult to watch. And there was a time when I was a part of it. I don't feel I've got the mental strength to be part of politics in Portishead at the moment, sadly, which is upsetting, because it's always been something I've been very passionate about. But it's one of those things where I just implore all people involved in politics in Portishead to practice what they preach and to all do that kindness. I don't want to, there are members of people who are asking for kindness who I don't recall being hugely kind to previous administrations. I'm glad that you've seen the other side of it, and and you've had that opportunity. But yes, so I absolutely agree that kindness needs to be as part of Portishead politics, but I just ask that it covers everyone and not just residents. And I'm not saying that all town councillors are mean on Facebook or whatever. That's not true. But I'm just asking for councillors to be equally aware of the impact their words can have on social media and in meetings. I'm not saying you're not allowed to get angry too. You're humans just like the rest of us. That's absolutely fine. But sadly, being councillors, your words sometimes have more of an impact than we do. Saying that, I don't want to be super negative, because, you know, I've benefited a lot from the council and I've had some really positive interactions with lots of councillors that I'm really, really grateful for. So I'm not trying to tar everyone with the same brush, but I agree that we should really fight for positive politics in Portishead, because I think that's the way to get increased engagement. And I do worry that we are losing engagement in local politics, which would be a shame, because there's so much good that can be done through the medium of local politics. I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to sort of say, yes, kindness in politics would be great, but it needs to come from all sides as well. But I'm sure you guys understand that, because you're human beings as well. And I am done. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for those comments. Anybody else wish to? Yeah. Oh, could we just take a gentleman there, Annette, and then yeah. So would you like to?
Hello, good evening to you. My name's Ray Shields. I've lived in Portishead for over 30 years. I've not been necessarily involved in the council here, but I have been involved in local government in Kent before I came down to this part of the world. That's a part. I just feel it's sad that having seen the council's activities over the years, I'm just puzzled as to what's situation we've reached at this now. Here we have a meeting with an audience of about 15 or 20 people. In previous residents' meetings, only in the last couple of years, this hall has been full, and I consider well attended. But what's happened now to make a situation where we've got such few involvement with the people of Portishead? The town's increased dramatically over the years, and it's not reflected. I guess that quite a few of you here are involved with the town council. So what about the residents? Well, I'm a resident, but I'm not. But where are everybody else? It's been mentioned about communication. All right, I can only speak of what's been happening. What happens over the years is that we've been kept generally informed of what's going on. All right. Traditionally, its information has come through the pages of the Times, which are of the North Somerset Times, which is still available and not necessarily distributed, but available in town, and yet it doesn't appear to now carry anything relating to the town council or North Somerset Council, and other people have mentioned to me in conversation, you know, what's the point of having the Times? It never tells you anything. And it's been, people have referred, speakers before me have said, how did people know about this meeting? The gentleman who said he only found it at 7 o'clock looking through social media. That's the only way I found out that the meeting was on. I've been to the previous ones last year and in years gone by, and it seemed to be well promoted, but just everything seems to have died at the moment as far as communication. All right, everybody says yes, website, social media. Not every, and it's often said, not everybody's on social media. All right, I don't claim to be an expert on Facebook. So, and there's lots of other, I'm sure there's lots of other people who certainly didn't know about this meeting tonight. So what can the council do? Yeah, traditionally we've read in years gone by, all right, things change, about meetings of the council, and if the any elections are referred to in the paper. It's been mentioned earlier about your notice boards around the town. I was looking to try and find details of the election, and the one last weekend I was looking at the one outside Waitrose, and there was one result mentioned. Otherwise, all the others were just purely details of nominations. So where is one supposed to find details of who's now part of Portishead Town Council? And I think that's as much as I can say, but I'm just worried about what's gone wrong. Why is there so little interest in the town council? But thank you. That's all I want to say on this subject, anyway.
Thank you, Ray. I know Annette Hennessy wished to say something briefly.
It's just directly.
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah. So, Laura, do you want to say something? Laura, also again.
Last year, I attended this meeting online, and I think I remember you were here in person, and I think you asked the same question back then. At that time, no, yeah, all I can do is give you my first-hand account. Since at least 2020, I've been desperately trying to get involved with town council and district council staff. I must be very delicate about this next bit. My struggle has been with interactions with individual councillors. I was kind of gutted that so few are here tonight because I'd hoped to meet the new lot. So thank you for coming. I've had good experiences with Ben in the past, so I'm glad Ben's here. Thanks for coming. I'm gutted that I didn't get an opportunity to meet more of the new ones. I made the deliberate decision to stop engaging with Portishead Town Council completely because of what I perceived to be complete lack of professionalism, complete lack of respect. And in the run up to the election, I ended up telling people that Sue Mason was my favourite town councillor because she was the only one I didn't have a little inkling of what she thinks of me personally. I think she's very good that way. She kept it all so professional, and I'm gutted that Sue's no longer on the town council because I think she was exceptionally good at preventing any sense of making things personal. So I backed off because of individuals. Honestly, I don't care if people don't like me and don't like what I say, but at least do a convincing job of pretending you care. So if I can make a plea to the new lot who might be listening to this later, even if you can't stand me, please just try and recognise what I'm trying to do as a resident and with someone who might have a few skills that can benefit others in the town. And I want to be involved. Let's just find a way to make it work. I had a plea for councillors to read up on how to work with people who might present as difficult characters. You haven't got a clue what their background is. One of the councillors suggested in an email that they knew how to spot neurodivergent people because of their part-time work in a different profession. I am really glad to see that some of the new councillors have backgrounds in mental health and other aspects of wellbeing. That would be useful, but I've had another request now that if this could go in the minutes. You've got lucky, you've got mental health professionals in your councillors now. And also when Laura goes, in terms of engagement, community wellbeing, she's a member of staff. But if you ever lose funding to pay for that member of staff, what training and CPD will you be putting in place for any elected councillors who might not have a clue how to deal with difficult members of the public? That is all part of your job. So have I gone off on a tangent? Sorry, I hope that was relevant. I will finish there.
Sorry. Obviously, Ben Aldridge, I'm here as a resident, but also the chair of the town council as well, luckily, from last week. Kind of just want to answer kind of Laura's question, obviously, and Ray's question. I don't know what the answer is to get people more involved. I genuinely don't. I'm here, obviously, as a resident, but as a councillor to open the meeting for you guys. I'd love to see more people here. You know, it is on the notice boards and so on and so on, but we've, you know, various different things that I get involved in the town. It's really hard to get engagement at times for whatever reason. A lot of it I found is post-COVID issues with people, so they, you know, they don't go to places or they don't see it anymore, etc. So what we did, particularly for some bits and bobs we were doing, is putting leaflets in the pubs and in restaurants, so where people kind of go to. So if they see it in there, I went into the Lakeside Cafe on Saturday and there was a leaflet in there for an event going on. I looked at it, didn't know anything about it, now I do. So I think maybe that's the way we go with it. Maybe put some leaflets scattered around town that way is one option. School, yeah. And again, I think it's this way we need to work out the engagement, isn't it? So I'd like us to be more engaged. I'd like more people to be here tonight. Sadly, they're not. For whatever reason, I don't know. I can't answer that question. Whether it's not heard about it, busy, I don't know. Down the skate park, etc. So we will work on it. We will try and find a solution. Are we going to find the solution overnight? No, because it's one of those nuts that's really hard to crack, I think, if we're honest. But we will try. Also, kind of engagement with residents. I'd like residents personally to be more involved on things. Obviously, you can't vote on things for obvious reasons because you're not a councillor. However, say for example, the Lake Grounds project, whatever that may be, there's a Lake Grounds committee. I'd like residents to be on it. I'd like to be part of it because at the end of the day, we're here to represent you. Are we going to make all the right decisions? No, we're not. Are we going to have disagreements throughout the 4-year period? Yes, we are. As long as I can say, me speaking to me personally, as long as I can say that I've done my best over that period, whether it's been right or wrong, in my opinion, it's been right for the residents. I can't do any more, but I think we need the residents to be involved. I think it's really important that they are. So I will be working on the plan. If you can give me a few weeks at least, we get away from holiday and back again. But yeah, but I would like residents to kind of to be part of these things and decision making. So ultimately, we're making it for you guys. Now, we may go and spend, say, £30,000 on a new play park. And you look at it and think, well, what a load of rubbish is that? But actually, I'm saying we have, by the way. But if we actually get you involved, then actually you can say, well, yeah, well, actually, if you thought about that, or you thought about that, we could do that kind of thing. So I would like to get you all involved. So yeah, just watch this space. We'll see what we can come up with.
It's really off-putting.
Yeah, they're not coming back, hopefully. Thank you.
There was a comment there from Laura who said, please get rid of the bouncers off the door because it's very intimidating. Thank you for that, Laura. Ken Smith would like to say a few words. Oh.
I'm a northerner, and even when I'm trying to be nice, I sound gruff. It's just part of being a northerner. Even when I'm trying to romance my wife, she'll say, "You're gruff." I think I've been coming here now 20 years and more to every meeting. And Mr. Whitfield, every new council want to change public participation. Everyone. The first thing they do when they get in power, want to shut the public out. You, not you personally, but the council write manifestos. And people like me read your manifestos and hope that you'll stick to it. And many times you don't. And I feel that that gives me a right to mention that you have said something pre-election that you were going to do. And then when you get here, you change it. Like the previous 4 years, you would say, we'd all get together in groups, put our arms around each other and start to move forward. That never happened. In fact, I think I've had more insults from the last council than I've had ever in any other council. And you said the public are negative, but remember when the previous council was in, I'm going back to when the Tories were in power, they got awful stick, real nasty. People saying they've been taking bribes and all this kind of stuff. I've been sat here in night and one of the councillors on the council this time, we got elected this time, a young man, an old man, I'm an old man now, but I was a lot younger then. An old man was hustling and making a noise, and this councillor got up and shouted at him and frightened him to death. So it works both ways. Don't just say the public are being negative. We owed you to your manifesto commitments. People say it's not politics. Of course it's politics. You got elected as Portishead independent Portishead party. You're a party. You must be. You must be politic minded. So don't be surprised if the people in Portishead don't agree with some of your policies. For example, I bitterly disagree with you trying to buy the lake grounds. £1 million to buy it. That was in one of your leaflets. It probably wasn't yours, but it was in one of the leaflets. I read it. No, don't shake your head. I don't tell lies. I read it clearly. He was hoping to buy the lake grounds, £1 million, then £1 million to do it up. This is a parish council. Bus stops, grants. I'm trying to think of something. Oh, you took the toilets on toilets. So that's what you're responsible for. The main thrust of politics in North Somerset is North Somerset District Council. And this nice lady said there's no councillors here. There is one North Somerset councillor there. Where's the rest? It's where the power is. And you, I'm sorry, I didn't know you. I haven't got the full results yet. Well, I haven't. Because like the man said, where were the results? They weren't even in the Times this time, you know. So I didn't know. I saw Roger, I didn't know you were on the district. But the district, okay, he's on both. So I know he's on the town council, but the district council is where the power is. And some nights I've been in here and there hasn't been one district council in the place, except those who are on both councils. I'd like to give district councils a map, you know. This is where the folk hall is. Go across a little mini roundabout and it's one of the buildings along there. The people of Portishead want to see what the North Somerset councils are doing. That's where the power is. What committees are they on? Or are they sticking up for Portishead? Or are they battling about the building they're going to do in Old Mill Road and Wyndham Way? Or are you opposing it? What are you doing for Portishead? That's what the people want to know. That's where the power is. The people of Portishead want to be represented at North Somerset. Have we got anybody on the executive? We have who? You. Right. You're the most important. No, don't laugh. Don't laugh, because I'm deadly serious. You're the most important person in this room. Everything about Portishead is resting on your shoulders. You've got to fight in those committees for everything concerning Portishead. We're the second biggest town in the place, and we get worse treatment from Westland than any other town in the Cumberland. You've got to change that. We're fed up of it. You go down Western, you go to the Italian Gardens, and lovely payments, lovely payments, you know, beautiful. And at Portishead, what do we get? A dust bowl. You've got to represent Portishead. You've got to fight every inch of the way. And if, for Portishead, never mind what's happening in Rington or out of Mongolia. Your business is Portishead. And the rest of you on that council, you're picking up your 24K or whatever it is, or 8K if you're a councillor, earn it. That's what I think. I think the power is North Somerset, and this town has got to be represented and stop doing stupid things like, well, North Somerset gives a rate reduction if you buy the playground. Will they give us an 8? No, they won't. No, they won't. Our rates will not go down, and we'll be saddled with a lovely piece of place that needs £1 million spent on it to do it. Look at that foot that's there. The only nice thing down there actually is Ben's skateboard. I know, Ben, I know, but it's true. It's true. The place is looking disheveled. But don't buy it because we can't afford to keep it. Sorry, thank you. So, and there you go. You'll accuse me now of being negative and not supporting the council. That's exactly the opposite of the way I feel. Carry out your manifesto. Don't change public participation. Let people say what they really think. Thank you.
I need to try and take people in turn, and sorry, I missed Annette out earlier. Annette, did you wish to say something? Sorry.
Is that on, Paul?
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Annette Hennessy, and like Laura, I will try to say what I need to say in a manner that everybody finds acceptable. And I can confirm I have never, ever been aggressive in council meetings, but I have held the council to account, and I will continue holding them to account. So firstly, on the Portishead Residents Annual Meeting, which is what this meeting is, it's really important, and we've mentioned the advertisement of this meeting time and time again, and I have ridden my bike around the town, putting notices on boards and walls just so that people are aware of it. And in fact, one year I even went around with a campaign board to tell people that it was happening. And that year we had quite a full meeting. It's difficult to know what will make people engage, but can I just firstly mention to the clerk, the town clerk, who I believe may well have been responsible, or the communications officer, there are several things regarding the Portishead Residents Annual Meeting, which is really important. And on your website, the new website, it immediately ostracizes a lot of people in the town because it says places are limited, so please book your seat. For this meeting, no resident has to book their seat. They never have had to, and they don't need to now, because that immediately disengages the public. And we have raised this time and time again, not just with this council, with the past one, because this meeting is really important for the people of the town to speak. And I just want to sort of go on to a couple of other things just regarding the meeting. Somebody sent me a picture of the website today, and it wasn't actually a new events page, which was strange, but it was under council meetings. This meeting is not a council meeting. It may have residents who are councillors here, but it's not a council meeting. And often in the past, it's been labelled as council, the Portishead Council meeting, annual meeting. You've got your own council meeting. This is the residents' meeting. It's the people's meeting. And it's the people that named it, the Portishead Residents Annual Meeting, PRAM. Yet those words aren't on your website, apart from on a little sort of snapshot of something. It looks like it might have been a magazine. It's just on as the residents' annual meeting. So use the correct title, please. And that's not a negativity. That's what people want to know. They want to know what is happening. And they want to know that they're welcome. Secondly, we're not in a pandemic anymore. And so you don't need people's names and addresses before they come to these meetings. You do not need them to book. So it's very important that people in the town know they can just come along. It also says there's a limit to the number of this hall. Well, as we established last year when there were so few here, well, we're hardly getting past the crush at the door. But what it doesn't say online is what the capacity of this hall is. I think it might be in the region of 100, I'm not sure. That's what I thought. So that would help people to understand. And also then if people do turn up and the hall is absolutely packed and they can't get in, they understand that it was first come, first seated. But to say straight away, oh, if numbers are limited, it immediately makes people think, oh, I won't bother then. And I know several people who have been told that. And it shouldn't be up to the residents to advertise the meetings. And I saw something on one of the social media sites, I believe by Leslie Cottrell, which actually did give some information about the meeting. I've done so myself as well on a Facebook page. And also it's important that people know that they can speak on any subject they want without limitation, as long as it's about our town. So I think that's the other thing. People have lost sight as to what this meeting can do for the town. And I think with regard to engagement, somebody asked last year, I think it might have been the same gentleman, Ray, why there weren't so many people here. And someone said, oh, it's because everybody's happy with the council. Well, we've heard that before, and that wasn't the case. And it's not the case now. But the engagement isn't there. And one of the reasons why it's not there, and this is not a negative in any way, but let's face it, the controlling party that now runs this town council got in with half the votes that they got in 2019. So that shows that people have disengaged even more since 2019. And at the last meeting a year ago, I wasn't going to come to this meeting for the very simple reason a resident knocked me last year and said, did I realise that there was a person pointing his camera at me, not at the person speaking? Well, that's intimidating. And so as it's already been pointed out by, I think her name was Beth Hobbs on the screen, and by residents in the hall, what councillors can't do is have a different set of rules for them than they have for the public. And to me, that's common sense. Why should the public have to act with a different set of courtesy and politeness to councillors? Now, I personally have never seen anyone, as Paul Mortby said earlier, be aggressive or attack any member of staff. And if they have done outside of meetings that aren't on videos, then report it to the police. And we've had to raise this before. Now, I can quite honestly say that I had a letter last year to say that I was banned from meetings, not for any aggressive behaviour during council meetings, but for a social media site. And the same thing has happened just a few days before the election this year. And I can confirm, as evidenced by video, that I have never been aggressive to anybody in a meeting, but I have been assertive, and I will hold people to account when they fail in their manifesto, as someone in this meeting has already said. And as Ken Smith highlighted, in 2019, we were told explicitly that the controlling council, if they got in, and they did, they would take over public participation and they would allow every resident to engage to take part in all decisions. They would form groups, and although they cannot vote on a subject, they can engage and take part in it. Yet, public participation diminished during the 4 years. Now, COVID accepted when meetings weren't being held, but the rest of the time it diminished and diminished. And a couple of meetings ago, I had to come along, and I actually thought I was still banned, so I don't quite know how I can be banned again, because I was already banned a year ago. And I didn't stop doing what I thought was correct, which was holding the councillors to account. So my banning was actually revoked. So I'm not sure how I could be banned again. But it won't stop me, because as long as there are councillors who don't tell the truth and who are not open, honest and transparent to the people of Portishead, I will challenge them. And there are growing numbers of people who will also challenge them. But at the last, not the last meeting, the meeting before that, I came and sat in the hall because I wanted to challenge a councillor who'd actually kept on raising my name when I wasn't even here. And I did so. But at that same meeting, there were some residents from the senior forum. And those residents came the previous meeting, and they were raising what they considered to be very valid points. I didn't know them personally, but it was only when they were talking and I was sat at the end of the hall, I could see what they were talking about. For some people with vision difficulties, you do get glares off of the laminates. Now, whether people think that's right or wrong, there is a group of people in Portishead who struggle. And what I cannot understand is why this council is refusing to liaise and negotiate with those people. Because we cannot ostracize a group of elderly people in this town because you don't like what they're saying. And even as I sit here, I haven't got any visual problems. But anybody who does would get glare off those laminates. I'm sorry, I can see why they were struggling. They do feel that when they have their own meetings in this hall, there are items in this hall that may cause them difficulties. Now, whether able-bodied people and people with no disabilities find the same problem is really irrelevant. What is relevant is those people are struggling. And so when they come along, and at the last meeting, one lady was on crutches, and she came along, and we had councillors who turned their back on those people. Why would a councillor turn their back on residents who are speaking? Because as councillors, you're not representing yourself, you're representing the people. So the very least you can do is listen to the people. And I've got to mention, I think it was 2 years ago now, there was an appalling meeting, and Paul Mortby and I were actually outside of that meeting. And Mr. Smith was terribly, terribly abused by councillors in that meeting, saying all manner of things without any evidence. And it was upsetting, and the videos are still available online now. And so I think, without going into too much negativity, I think councillors have got to understand that all people expect of you is that you're open, honest and transparent. And that includes before you're elected, but it definitely means once you're elected. And having seen things that are not true on various social media sites like Portishead Postbox, like Portishead Say What You Like. I mean, to have a website which is Say What You Want and know that people can defame and slander each other, including one of the people actually that are online at the moment, I find quite atrocious. And it's all very well people saying, I want you to be positive. Well, yes, everybody wants everybody to be positive, but it's got to go both ways. And what you cannot have are councillors treating the public with such disdain that they don't want to come along. And I wasn't going to come along to this meeting. I was persuaded to. I wasn't going to. And the reason I'm sat at the back is that what happened to me at the last meeting doesn't happen again, because I refuse to be intimidated by people, councillors who represent this town, treating the public in a poor way. And so I think, you know, that's all I really feel that I need to say. You know, you'll have people saying, oh, people are very happy with everything. I'm sure there are people that are happy. There are also people who are very unhappy. And if you want to build up your numbers for the next election, I really feel that you have to start listening to people. And I can only praise Ben Aldridge. He has worked hard, and not just in a council meeting. Ben, and I know he doesn't like praise, he is very modest, but I have seen nothing but integrity from Ben Aldridge. So don't let anyone say we don't praise councillors, because the residents do. And in the past, we've praised councillors. And in fact, pre-2019, we had very good councillors. We may have had some poor councillors. But what I have never experienced in Portishead is the gang-like culture that we have got now. And that's what is not acceptable. And it's not just, sadly, a political party that's ganging, it's their partners and supporters. I don't want to see that in my town, but while I do see it, I will defend whoever they are attacking, and I will defend the right for us to have honesty. And so, you know, all we ask is open, honesty and transparency. If you can't do that, then perhaps being a councillor is not right for you. Now, I personally would like to see the title councillor go completely. I would like to see committees. We already have great voluntary committees in this town who do things purely for the good of the town. Wouldn't it be lovely if we had the folk hall, which had committees that dealt with the money, distributed the grants like they always do, and so given money to, we had somebody at a last meeting say, oh, we've given money to lots of groups. Every council that is sat in this hall has given money to lots of groups. They support it with grants, everybody has done. But what you cannot have are councillors who are not consistent. And so all we want is honesty. And that's all really I think anybody can hope. And I know when I asked this at another meeting, Mr. Smith, a friend of mine, said, oh no, all councillors lie. No, they don't lie, not all of them. I know Paul Churchill, I must give him praise as well, because he, to me, has got the genuineness and integrity that I think can lead this town forward. So I'm really pleased to see Ben as chair of the town council and Paul Churchill as the vice chair. And I hope that that will take Portishead into a new realm. And having seen councils in the past try to erode public participation, don't do it. Try and make sure you work with the public and you engage with them and you tell the truth. And you could start next time by actually admitting you are a political party and you are not independent, which for you, Mr. Whitfield, was demonstrated very clearly by the ward sheet, which showed Caritas Charles as an independent and you as a political party. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Two people have indicated they wish to speak. Firstly, Ben Aldridge and then Roger Whitfield.
Yeah, so I want to answer Ken's question regarding Northumberland's councillors and kind of getting updates at council meetings. No. Let me finish. Let me finish. Roger knows what I'm going to say because I've had a shot across the bows. I expect Northumberland district councillors to come to council meetings. I don't care whether you're a district councillor only. It's not relevant. You're representing this town. You're expected to come to meetings. If you can't come because you're ill or you're at work or whatever, fine. Then give a written update so that can be read out of what you're working on and what you're working on for Portishead. So I have said it probably won't happen for the June meeting. I'll be honest. I am going away. But for the meeting after that, I do want district councillors to be here and to answer questions and not just say there's not a lot going on. Because I have to say, when it's been on the agendas, it's the worst bit of the meeting for me. I kind of wanted to hide out of the way because it is frustrating. We all care about Portishead. Whether we all agree or disagree doesn't matter. As long as we do the best for Portishead, that's fine. But I do expect district councillors to be here or at least give me an update so I can then present it to residents, etc. So yeah, that's what I am working on. That will happen. So yeah, thank you.
Roger Whitfield, did you wish to say something?
Just to speak back to Ken from what he said so long ago now. I'm not the most important person in the room. That's totally wrong. You guys, the residents of Portishead, you're the most important people in the room because that's what we're here for. We're here to represent you. I am acutely aware, not just from the people in the room here, but from everybody I met during the election campaign, that Portishead is to be put first. Yep, all of our district councils are acutely aware of the issues in Portishead and what we should be doing to make sure that Portishead gets its fair share of the resources. It's been a bone of contention for far too long. Now we have a seat on the executive. We should be able to get some more of the things done that have been impossible to do in the past. And that's all really all I want to say on the subject. There's a lot to be sorted out down at North Somerset. You're going to have to give us some time. And back to Ben's point, we've the Portishead independent councillors have had a chat about this, and yes, we will be getting regular updates back to Portishead Town Council at all the meetings to ensure that everybody knows what's going on down there. So it's no longer, you're going to have to start asking people questions. We'll give a report on what's been going on. And I think that's been missing for a while, and we wanted to put that one straight this time round. Thank you.
Sorry. So Sue Mason.
Hello. I was a town councillor for 18 years. And I wasn't re-elected, but I am now a district councillor. And yes, I do intend coming to every single full town council and giving a report, even if I have very little. You will hear my voice again.
Annette, did you wish to say something?
No, I wanted to mention you. Yes, sorry, I just wanted to actually say a couple of things on the district council. I hope this time there will be changes, because in the last 4 years, there weren't. We had Portishead independent district councillors, and the moment they got into North Somerset Council, they were offered to have their own group, keeping our town's name. And they refused it. And then they joined the independents, people who had been elected as true independents. And in doing so, they lost our town's identity. And we have had executive members on North Somerset Council in the last 4 years, but they resigned. We have got an assistant executive at North Somerset Council. I don't know whether she remains that now she's been re-elected, but we had also an assistant one. But yet when it came to a really important topic about the development at Slade Road, that councillor abstained. So instead of standing up for our town and saying, no, we don't want development, she abstained. We had other councillors who didn't attend meetings. We had a town council chairman who was a district councillor, who then resigned his seat very quickly after election. And he was a member of your party. So we have heard lots of promises before, but they haven't been fulfilled. And that's why people in the town are not always positive, because we have heard so much before and nothing has changed. And in fact, in 2019, as someone else has already said, the party that got in 2019, which is the same one that's got in now, actually really laid in aggressively to the previous council for not doing certain things. And yet we had then 4 years of exactly the same behaviour, but worse. So if people feel disengaged in the town and they don't always feel positive, there's a very good reason for it. And that showed in the voting numbers. But I would like to say a huge congratulations to Sue Mason, because you deserve to be a district councillor. And I've got no doubt that you will try and represent our town as best you can. And I wish you every luck, and you will get the support of the public, as you always have as a town councillor. But please don't make promises that you're not going to fulfil this time for the others. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Just a reminder that obviously if anybody online does wish to say anything, please put your virtual hand up and you're more than welcome to join in the debate. Is there anybody online or in the room wishes to? Yeah, Mr. Shields.
Can I raise some other issues that I feel ought to be, the residents ought to bring to the local councils, whether it be town council or North Somerset? It just concerns, I dare say other people have concerned the increase in traffic around Portishead. Poultry hundreds has always been a problem, but it's just concerned amount of traffic, certainly around Harbour Road, High Street, Keys Avenue. Even this is before even that they have deemed it to start thinking of a railway station, because that's the very area where the station's going to be. It's just getting in and out of into the Harbourside Health Centre, and along Harbour Road and down the High Street. Another thing, of course, is the positioning of things in Portishead. The fact that a large amount of the housing resident area is in the Vale and on the Marina. Yet, unfortunately, where's the secondary school? Is down at Gordano School at the other end of town. And unfortunately, 2 years ago, the bus company first, our friendly bus company, decided that they didn't want to operate their bus service down the High Street and down Bristol Road. So what does it mean? That everybody, all the school children needing to get to Gordano have to either walk or get taken to school by their parents. And so I'm sure everybody here has seen the long queue of cars coming up the High Street around about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the afternoon. And of course, the consequential fact that the school children have, it's good for them, probably, have to walk from Gordano School up to the other end of town, along pavements which aren't that suitable for large numbers of children to walk safely. And talking about cars, the speeding around the town, especially on Wyndham Way, along Clapton Lane, which of course is seen as a convenient way for most people, for a lot of people getting out of Portishead, to go through Captain Lane and then along the Fayland Road. And that just worries me is the speed along that road, despite all the humps that have been put in. I can speak from experience because some of you may, was for quite a few years recently, I've been involved in the flower show and controlling people coming in and out of the car park field, and the motorists don't have no consideration for people coming in and out there, and just throw their hands up in disgust at anybody trying to come out. Oh, of course, similar to the amount of traffic around the town, which of course you get onto size of cars. Cars are no longer the Ford Escorts and Minis that used to have. They're the SUVs, 4x4s, which are large cars, and two large cars passing each other is more than, say, two Minis passing each other. So of course that means that they want loads of space, and they also want loads of space when it comes to parking. And that's another issue, of course. Is the council doing anything or considering anything relating to parking? I think there's been talk over the years of the councils doing things for us about parking, but is anything happening? And I think that they are my and also the number of move slightly from cars is the housing areas. There seems to be a continually building blocks of flats, whether it's for easy to acquire or retirement. It just seems to be a vast number, and some of which are not even occupied yet. So they will increase the number of cars around town. I think I've said my bit, but I just wanted to refer to various things that concern me as a pedestrian around the town and a motorist around the town. And I'm sure a lot of you are probably do the same thing, that you walk or drive around the town, and you want to do it safely. That's like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shields. Marilyn, would you like to?
Yes. 4 years ago, I believe the promises were that Portishead Town Council, I know they're pretty ineffectual anyway with North Somerset, but they would try to prevent further overdevelopment. Since then, the development that's taken place in Portishead has become part of the problem with traffic and all the rest of it. One of the main problems we now have is we have a reduction in pharmacies. We have no post office. I've lived here for over 50 years. I know this place when it was 9,000 people. My children have been brought up here. My grandchildren would have been here if they could have afforded the prices. But I am disgusted with the fact that there's very little fighting against any further development. I note that the new Petersfield development seems to be being promoted now. The one thing we do need in the town is somewhere dedicated to dementia, through dementia, whether it be dementia. I have a very good friend at the moment who's got a problem. Her husband, she has to travel because he has Alzheimer's, but to have Alzheimer's and needs nursing care doesn't exist. Well, Petersfield could be built. It could be, I've said this online, it could be promoted as a place which is dedicated. I know you would have to get funding for this, but it could be dedicated for something that's worthwhile, not more retirement flats, please. Another 24 or 36 or whatever with 5 parking spaces. That's Churchill. I went to a meeting many, many years ago regarding Churchill in Old Church Road in Clevedon, and made the point of why you're putting so few parking spaces in a retirement home. Oh, because old people are over 60, they don't drive at night. Well, I'm over 60 and I do drive at night, apart from when I broke my arm last year. And so we have a situation where they're dismissive. They're doing it for money, but they will be like the Pegasus Life one. I went to that consultation. I don't think many people did, to be honest. Otherwise, I made the point. What about infrastructure? We have a situation, and the argument was there, well, people will be moving out of 4-bedroom houses. So those people will then be able to vacate that house and sell it to a family. Where the family is coming from, outside Portishead. So in fact, we're increasing the population. We don't have now the wherewithal within, I know schools aren't too bad. We used to be oversubscribed, but they're not too bad at the moment. But pharmacies. We have certainly doctors. Have you tried to get an appointment in the last week or so? I have. I get on at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm 54th. I lose the will to live. Are they waiting for me to die? Okay, well, I've got it right then. I'll die before they give me an appointment. Or I have to be vetted. The girls or the gentlemen on the reception, they're great. They're really pleasant. But I don't want really to be triaged by somebody who is a receptionist. I want to be triaged by somebody who is medically trained. And whether they can be so with the new government incentive of this money that they're going to promote, 240 million actually won't touch the sides of it. But what I'm trying to say is, the existing council we've had for the last 4 years promoted that they would not encourage further development. They have done it in spades. And they're doing it again now. We're ending up with a town full of coffee shops and estate agents and now funeral parlours. Well, I'll be using one of those shortly. And, you know, we've got the stage now. We need a bit more than just that. We need a community. This is the first PRAM meeting, Portishead Residents Association meeting that I've been to for 4 years. Because the last time I came, I was bullied. As an ex-councillor, I was bullied. It was not a pleasant experience. I've been to others, and 1 or 2 others, and I've been pointedly focused by an individual particularly, focusing on me and speaking my name, picking me out, and yet I wasn't even saying anything. So I don't like it. I was a councillor for 8 years. I was asked again whether I'd stand again now this year. I said I'd kill somebody because, quite frankly, the bullying that the present council controlling section are responsible for, what they did to us in the previous 8 years, I had to go home at night and couldn't sleep. The bullying was so appalling. Those people now are complaining, they're banning people. You know, come on, you can't have it both ways. You can't be a bully and then complain, and you then bully somebody else. That's why when you see somebody's partner saying that we don't need to come to meetings because the council is so brilliant, it's fear. I'm thinking, why the hell do we want to come anyway? Why do we want to come and be bullied? Why do we want to come and be focused on? Why do we want that? We don't want that. I want a meeting that's convivial. The first 6 years I was a councillor, the meetings, I tried very hard as a councillor. I'm sure you are going to try as very hard as well. But going back to the district councillors, we had more district councillors over the last 4 years than we've got at the moment in executive positions. And as was already said, they soon resigned. Why did they resign? Goodness knows. I hope that's not going to be true of you. But you are a party, you're not independents. Let's make that very clear. Several of you have stood as Labour councillors, so we know where your leanings are. I now do not belong to any party whatsoever. I'll make that clear. I'm not a Conservative. I have voted Conservative. The only thing I haven't voted is Plaid Cymru. And that's when I was living in Wales. They offered 3% maximum mortgages, which is probably a good idea. But, you know, I do feel that what we've got at the moment is a group of bullies intimidating residents, and that is why you're not getting residential support in a meeting. The other thing I would say is, regarding the £1 million or whatever it is on lake grounds, that proposing to take that over, why we're taking something over that we've actually owned in the past anyway, if you read the details of it, we actually owned that. And you've got the situation where if you take that over, you're going to have to appoint yet another member of staff. I note the bill we're paying now for staff members on a monthly basis is unbelievable. I'm sure they're all excellent, but some of it has been also nepotism. That is what I object to. And I believe that that is where we have gone wrong over the last 4 years. And that's why your vote level's gone down considerably and nobody else will stand. Okay.
Thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, Annette, would you like to say something? Yeah, of course. Give your name again.
Sorry, yes, Annette Hennessy. I've just got to correct Marilyn, I'm sure she won't mind. With regard to the town and the lake grounds, was it you were talking about? We never owned. Portishead as a town, as a parish, didn't own the lake grounds. And in fact, no. And I have actually seen that in manifestos by the controlling party, which is why I've had to correct them. Before it came under the Portishead Urban District Council, it was Bristol City Council. And I think in between that, there may have been Woodspring and a couple of others as well, possibly even Avon County Council. But it was never Portishead's lake grounds. And if Portishead Town Council wishes to take over the lake grounds, even if they got it for a penny, we could not afford the maintenance and the ongoing funding that would be needed at that lake grounds. So you might want to convince people that it's great for our town, but our precept, I'm sorry, no, I don't think it can go up anymore. There's people who are really struggling in this town, And you might be able to afford it, but they may not. And I think for them to have increased council tax to North Somerset Council, increased precept to Portishead Town Council, to take over the lake grounds, and also the state it's in now, apart from the Wheels Park, which is absolutely brilliant, and I could get as emotional as Ben did on Radio Bristol when I think about the skate park, because it makes me want to cry after years and years of trying to hold councillors to account over the skate park, and that we needed it so much. We cannot afford to take it on. And having spoken to North Somerset Council, they actually assured me that council tax has never, ever been reduced when a town or parish council has taken over pieces of land that were under the district council jurisdiction. And so if you want to take over the world, then do so, but don't do it at the cost of Portishead ratepayers, because I don't think we can afford it. Don't do it for your own egos. You know, and what's happened in the last 4 years over the lake grounds? Nothing. It's looked even worse than it has in previous years. And you've admitted that. I don't know what happened to the Section 106 funds that we were promised for the lake grounds by one of your own councillors. And in fact, she refused to answer further questions on that. Like the same councillor refused to answer questions as to why she thought that her council shouldn't pay in full funding for the Wheels Park, but she expected previous town councils to pay it. It's this inconsistency that I don't understand, where the bickering between the parties is actually just as bad for Portishead as anything else. And I'd just like to mention one last thing on Old Mill Road. I have stood at so many meetings to tell the town about Old Mill Road and the Wyndham Way development. And the party that's now controlling this town council actively, and I mean actively, supported development on Old Mill Road and the Wyndham Way. And when I say development, we're talking about multi-storey developments, multi-storey car parks, which I don't doubt we possibly may need in the town, but multi-storey residential flats and retail underneath. I'm sorry, I don't think our town does need that, because we haven't got the infrastructure. And as Mr. Shields has already said, we don't have the facilities and the amenities. Yet a couple of months before the election, because we kept on highlighting that the party actually supported that development over the last 4 years, they changed their tune and said, oh, we've now discovered how many homes might be going on that land, and we no longer support it. They knew from the beginning how many homes were going on that land, yet you did nothing. You supported it. You did videos down at Old Mill Road supporting that development. And then a couple of months before the election, oh no, we don't support it anymore. It's just hypocrisy. And I think it's terrible. And I don't know how many people listening went to the library consultation on what was planned for Old Mill Road. Well, I did. And apart from having one of the party councillors sniggering behind my back when I was trying to ask questions as to where the infrastructure was, where the facilities were going to go, I found it quite appalling. And even the sign when you went in, which told you how much green space was in Portishead, even that was incorrect. And so we do find that we're battling up against really a brick wall. So, you know, with regard to development, you have got to start safeguarding our town, because if you don't, we're already crumbling under the amount of traffic, as Mr. Shields has already said, and our doctors, as everybody has already said, and we didn't say it just this year, we said it last year, but nobody listened to us. So this year, listen to us. But I fear for Old Mill Road and Wyndham Way, it's already too late, because over the last 4 years, the town council supported it. North Somerset Council knew that you supported it. So to change your mind 2 months before an election, it might have even been a shorter time than that, it's too late, because North Somerset Council already have it on their radar. And I don't think one executive member is going to change that. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Is there anybody else in the room or online who would like to contribute to the debate? I see nobody in the room. Is there anybody online who wishes to speak? Nobody in the room? Annette wants to speak briefly.
Sorry, I just got to thank one resident of Portishead. She may or may not be listening, but her name's Heather Toms. And that lady has done more for Portishead over transport than anybody elected. She has put herself forward and she has fought. And she has fought to get meetings with the right people, even though some people try to take credit for what she did. And that's one thing that I find really hard to accept in Portishead, when we have people who take the credit for others' work. But Heather Toms, her success cannot be denied. So Heather Toms, I think she has been amazing, and I think she needs all our thanks. And I, for one, will applaud her. I think she should turn on the Christmas lights along with the lady who ran the Chinese, because the lady at the rickshaw, I think her retirement, I will miss her greatly, and get the two of them to turn the lights on. Thanks, Ben. You can put that forward at your next meeting.
Thank you, Annette. Mr. Shields, yeah.
Annette was going to say that, but can I just in defence, or no, to counteract what Heather has done? All right, yes, in response to public demand for the restoration of a bus service to Cribbs Causeway, yes, which I'm all in favour of, but it's not over and above what this town has at the moment. The reason that North Somerset Council have been able to do this, and of course this is a negative side, is that they've managed to use the driver and the vehicle that you will currently see around the town operating two bus services, both based on the Sainsbury's store. One that goes to North Western, Wetlands Lane, and one that goes to Nailsea, and which interwork at the moment. And so the driver and the vehicle will operate a school service from Nailsea to Portishead in the morning, which will go as far as Gordano School, and then it will trot off down to Clevedon, whereupon it will then operate from Clevedon through Portishead to Cribbs Causeway. Yes, fair enough. That's a quick way to get there, but it is only 3 journeys per day. So it's 9:30, 11:30, 1:30 from Portishead, coming back at 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. So you're limited to 4 hours at Cribbs Causeway. All right, yes, perhaps that is enough for people, but it means that 2 o'clock is the last bus home, purely because it's got to get back to Portishead, lo and behold, to do the school journey to Nailsea in the afternoon. So it means that the facility that North Somerset and Stagecoach introduced last year or the year before, by diverting their service around the marina following the withdrawal of First Bus X3. All right, so the service around the marina is lost. So the marina area now gets no bus. There's no bus up into Wetlands Lane at North Western. All right, unless you can walk down to the main road and catch the X5. All right, speaking personally, it also means the loss of a service around Brampton Way, and there are a fair number of older people who live around that area who use that service to get to the town and get to Sainsbury's. And as I said earlier, the marina loses its bus service, so it's not all positive. And of course, there's the service to Nails, which people use quite often. But the pull of Cribbs Causeway is obviously more than around Portishead. So it's not all, I'm not decrying what Heather's done to get the Cribbs Causeway bus, but it is not over and above what the town has now. So, but that, of course, is, as I said earlier, is a negative side. And they're never interested in saying what people won't get, but they'll just get what you're getting, and that's a service to Cribbs Causeway. But I just thought I'd make that. Sorry? Oh, yes. Well, but somebody told me today that they tried to get there, and they were told by the call centre that they couldn't provide a bus today, but they couldn't do it until next week. But there are, I know that is the idea. But all right, having worked in public transport for North Somerset before I retired, these demand responsive services don't always work to the degree that the government and councils expect. It's purely availability of a driver, and all right, yes. I know it's not Portishead, but there's a situation in Nailsea where in Nailsea is not in the West Link area. So, and any people wanting to get out from Nailsea now, can't use that because it's outside the area. And then there's this issue of Walton Bay. Yes, I understand that the residents there managed to get a bus into Portishead or into Clevedon, but the only way they could do it was to arrange for everybody to ring up on that particular day. And there was another instance. I know it's outside this area, but of Cadbury Garden Centre, where people would travelled from the Shoe Valley area across to Cadbury Garden Centre, and different people booked up. And when it's been reported that 6 buses were parked, 6 minibuses, 6 out of the West Link fleet were parked outside Cribbs Causeway, outside Cadbury, to take these 6 people back to the Chew Valley. So, but that's the way the system works, rather than a bus to take one bus to take. So that means 6 buses, 6 drivers within the system. But I just thought, having worked in public transport, I thought I would at least bring these matters to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I do see we have somebody online, which is Heather's iPad. I'm not sure whether that's Heather Toms or not. Maybe you could just give your name, please, Heather. Heather, I'm not sure whether you're muted or not, but we're not hearing anything from you. Yeah, Heather, we're still not hearing anything from you. Yeah, Heather, I'm not sure whether you're muted, but we're not hearing. Yeah, Heather, I'm told that you are muted. I don't know whether you can take yourself off a mute. If you're having difficulties, I understand there is a facility for you to type something if you wanted to do that. Yeah, Heather, we'll come back to you if we can get hold of you shortly. Is there anybody else in the room or online who wishes to speak? Yeah, Heather, I'm anxious that you still got your hand up. I think someone's going to send you a quick text message. If I could just check with the clerk regarding the minutes for the last meeting. I know that they were circulated. It's just whether or not they need to be approved. And right. Yeah, so one bit of admin that we do need to do, which we probably should have done at the start of the meeting, is just to confirm the minutes of the meeting that was held on the 18th of May 2022. I know that they have been on the website, and I understand they have been circulated to some parties. Whether or not everybody is happy that I sign these as a true record of the meeting of the 18th of May 2022. It probably okay. So I've had a request from one resident, Annette, that she's able to check the minutes. With the exception of Annette, if Annette is happy with them, would people be content for me to sign them as a true record? Is there anybody who is against that? I would actually agree with Annette. Marilyn, did you wish to say something?
One of them was just about muting Heather, the president. Yeah. So it's a question from Marilyn.
is anybody trying to type a message online that they would like read out? I think what you can see is probably the name, Marilyn, at the bottom, rather than an actual message. But is anybody online attempting? Right. Yeah, is anybody online attempting to write a message? If so, can you put your hand up? No. Laura, would you like to speak again?
I have been close enough to the screen to read what was appearing. I actually don't think some of it should have been immediately publicly visible. So it was like, if you imagine someone doing it audibly, it's like interrupting the current speaker. And some of the comments, I think, might have been a little bit inappropriate. I don't know whether the comments get published anywhere, but that's something for the ladies at this table to discuss. I don't know whether the people commenting know that it was visible immediately as they were typing it, but GDPR and all the rest of it. There you go.
Yeah, thank you for that, Laura. I actually missed any messages coming up, but your point's taken. Annette, did you manage to get hold of Heather? Okay. Right. Yeah, I see that Heather is still on. Oh, sorry. Beth Hobbs, did you wish to speak?
Yes, although I think Heather's just come back on, so I don't know if Heather wants to speak before me because she did have her hand up first. I don't know, Heather, are you there? Can't hear anything. Okay, I'll say my bit. Just as we're getting towards, I assume, close to the end, as it's 9:30. There's been obviously lots said this meeting, but I would like to thank the council of the previous 4 years. You know, I'm going to be honest, I didn't vote for you, but I have benefited from an awful lot of things that you've done for the town, particularly me and my small children have. Whilst I haven't necessarily agreed with everything, I am really grateful for the work that you've put in, because I like to think that you've all got Ben's sentiment. Just because we don't always agree on what the right thing is to do, you know, I firmly would like to believe that you are all doing what you're doing because you believe it's in the best interest of their town, and I respect that, and I hope that that continues into the future. But as a positive thing to say, I am really grateful. Like, the Beacon Hub has changed, has done lots of wonderful things for us. The skate park, which I know, you know, Ben has had a lot to do with. But yes, for all of the criticisms, and you know, and some of them are perfectly valid, I just wanted to say thank you, because it's a really hard job to do. I don't envy you doing it. I said I offered to do it once, and I'm glad I didn't get elected, because I could have coped with it mentally. But yeah, thank you for doing what you're doing. Yes, I hope you don't mind if we do disagree in future, but I am doing it from the same place as you are, that, you know, I just want the best for the town, but I respect that that's what you're doing too. And I look forward to everyone working together. And yes, thank you to those of you who've served, and thank you to those of you who are continuing to or are new to serve. Yeah, there are residents that really appreciate what you've done. And I think that's really important, because that hasn't necessarily been represented at this meeting to date. But there are people who are grateful for what you've done. Just as much there are people who, you know, wish that some things had been done differently. But I just wanted to put that out there, and hopefully Heather can now speak.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, thank you, Beth. Yes, Heather, we can hear you now.
I've never done this before, so this is very new to me. I'm away on holiday at the moment, so I've been following it all. So you can hear me now, can you?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
I wanted to say, what's my alarm going? The Cribs bus from Clevedon to Portishead is, and on to Clevedon, Portishead to Cribs, is totally different to the Nailsea bus. The number 59 continues to go to Nailsea regardless. It has no connection whatsoever to the Cribs bus. The 57, however, that was going around the marina, that is being withdrawn, and that is going to be used to go to Cribs. So people wanting to go to Nailsea will carry on going to Nailsea on the number 59. The idea being that at some stage or other, Westlink will increase its numbers of buses, and one of those will take over into Nailsea. But for the time being, the number 59 will continue to go to Nailsea, and the Cribs bus is not connected to Nailsea at all. It goes from Clevedon, Portishead to Cribs and back again. The fact that it's only 3 times a Monday to Friday, that is going to depend on demand. I have assurances from North Somerset Council transport planning officers that if the demand is there for more, there will be more put on. But this is just the start. It's just to get the service up and running. And from the feedback I've had from both people in Clevedon and Portishead, it's been tremendous, absolutely tremendous. And the maiden voyage, so to speak, is going on the 5th of June, Monday. I'm hoping to get on it myself in Portishead. I do worry that I might not be able to get on it if the people in Clevedon all decide to get on it and fill it up. But that's the first trip going. But as I say, the 59 goes to Nailsea. That will carry on. It's not, the Cribs bus has nothing to do with Nailsea at all. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, thank you very much, Heather, for your input. Is there anybody else either online or in the room who wishes to speak? Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, or do we want the signing of them to be delayed? Sorry, Anna. Okay. Annette, sorry, can you just come to the microphone? Sorry.
Yes, sorry. Without looking at the video of last year, it's really hard to compare it to the concise and perhaps shortened minutes that we've got here. But I would say well done to whoever took the minutes, because it can't be an easy job taking minutes of one of these meetings. But there are a few things missing. But one important thing is missing is when Mrs. Cootes actually stood up to challenge one of the town councillors, Bob Cartwright, for bullying me actually in the meeting, and you know, it's important that those things are recorded. If we're going to have the positive recorded, we also need the negative recorded, because I don't think anybody should come to one of these meetings and get bullied and actually intimidated so much they don't want to come to another meeting. And apart from that, I think it's very hard to actually do it. So I would say go ahead and improve it, because I think whoever did the minutes did probably quite a good job with the task in hand. But I would like those things included.
Thank you, Anna. Maybe we could just very quickly come up with a form of words between you and the clerk whilst Ben does the next piece of the meeting, and then I'll ask for approval afterwards. Yeah. So Ben, do you want to just do your little bit, and maybe Annette and the clerk have a quick we need to approve them there, won't we? Yeah.
Yeah, just 2 seconds, just quickly while we amend some wording in the minutes, guys. and we'll back to you in 2 minutes. Please enjoy your popcorn. Yeah, so just one last thing. Obviously, I mentioned at the start, obviously, we had the Jubilee Festival last year in aid of helping businesses in Portishead to kind of show their potential and sell their items, etc., which was a massive success until the heavens opened about Hobberspool, which I was gutted about. We are doing it again this year. Obviously, it's called the Coronation Festival, obviously, in kind of recognition of the King. I know we've done it 2 weeks later, but it was very deliberate. One, I didn't want to do it on that weekend. I think it was the right thing to do, and it was raining. It's fine to me, but also kind of just give us time to do it. So, like I say, it's a penny donation or whatever you want to give. So if you want to give a penny or £1, whatever, it's entirely up to you. But it will go to all local causes. So I'd like if people would nominate one, preferably 2 or 3 causes, and then you kind of vote upon it who you'd like it to go to. So this is for you guys who you think should benefit from this money. Whatever that may be. Like I said, last year it was just north of £1,800 was raised last year. So yeah.
Haven't got a list of approved.
It's anybody. You could literally any. So for example, last year, say was the Wheels and Skate Park group was nominated, and the Portishead Christmas Lights. So the money was split 50-50, and it went between them two. So it could be, I don't know, it could be the Christmas Lights, could be Portishead in Bloom, anything. It's the Rock Project. They're a business, but I think they are a business, aren't they? They are a business. Yeah, they are a business. Yeah, they're not a charity per se. Yeah. Yeah, I've no. It's up to you guys. I'm not. I'm going to vote on this. It's not to. They're definitely still there. Yeah. Well, my opinion, I'd like to split it 2 personally. So I like 2 groups to benefit. But if you residents choose only one, then that is your choice. It's your meeting. So yeah, I'm having no say. Hazel, yeah. Cool. Laura, and then Laura here. Oh, sorry, on the back. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, yeah. You can, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what.
So we have Portishead Girls Football Club. We have Portishead Parents, Katina James. We have the Christmas Lights, and we have the Food Bank. Anybody online would like to nominate anybody? Speak now or hold your peace. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, perhaps I could make a suggestion that actually this year we split it 4 ways between the 4 charities that have been proposed. That's my proposal. And that's been seconded by Sue Mason. I'll hand over to you again, Ben, for the.
Yeah, so this is your guys' choice. So I am not going to vote because one of them is the Christmas Lights, and I am now a trustee, just to be very clear. So I won't be voting on them anyway. But yeah, so obviously it's proposed that Portishead Christmas Lights, the Food Bank, Katina James and Portishead Parents, and the Portishead Girls Football Club, will that part of it benefit? Proposed by you as the residents, seconded by Sue. So all those in favour of it going to them 4 groups, please raise your hands now. That's a yes then. That's it. So thank you all. It will go to them. So please do come along. It's an absolutely fantastic day. Hopefully the weather's going to shine. Yeah, enjoy yourselves.
So if I could just come back quickly then to items 3 on the agenda, which is the minutes for the meeting of the 18th of May of 2022. There has been one amendment, which maybe I could just ask the clerk to read out for us, and then I'll ask if everyone's happy for them to be signed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll need a proposer and a seconder for this amendment, just to keep it legal. The amendment reads, Marilyn Coops stood up to prevent Councillor Cartwright from bullying Annette Hennessy in the meeting. Is that sufficient, Annette? Yes, that's fine. A proposer and a seconder, please.
Thank you for that. So I need a proposer and a seconder for that amendment, and then we will vote on whether they're a true record or not. Do I have a proposer? So Annette Hennessy to propose it, and Ray Shields has seconded it. I think probably the easiest way to do this is if I say, if anybody is against it, please show your hand, either online or in the room. I think that's carried then. Thank you, Mrs. Clark. Ben, let me hand back over to you, and we'll.
Thank you, Paul, for running the meeting. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody in the room and online for participating in the meeting. It is appreciated. I would like to run another one of these meetings at the end of the year, because I am disappointed it's a low turnout. Why that is, I genuinely don't know. Have we not publicised it enough? I can't comment. I know I've seen it various places, but clearly it isn't enough. So let's let the summer holidays get out of the way. Kids back to school, probably maybe look at it September, October time, just before the clocks go backwards. Oh, my life, really. Anyway, let's enjoy summer before it starts. But no, we will look to run another one. I think it's important residents have their meetings. So we'll go from there with it. We'll say thank you to everyone that's been involved. And hopefully we'll see you all at future council meetings and so on. Thank you all.